Hello and welcome to another episode of The Card Show, the UK's greatest card podcast. So I'm going to say there. Go out on a whim and say that. Why not? Be my own best supporter. This week's episode is about graded cards. If you're new to the hobby or if you're not, I feel this is going to be a subject I need to talk about now. Before it potentially could go way left, way left. If you've been in the hobby or you know the hobby, you sort of know about cards either getting graded yourself or buying graded, sort of companies and the grading standards and scales, etc. But obviously, people who get into the hobby may not know this sort of stuff, especially if they come in from a younger age from Match Attax, where it wasn't really a graded thing. You can even argue that the sort of Pokemon side of thing wasn't that much graded until the last few years, really. But I was sent something, I seen something in a Facebook group as well, and I've had to look into it myself and whatnot. But there's now breakers, streamers, whatever they want to call them, on whatnot, that are grading cards themselves, giving them a little number, and trying to put a premium on them. Don't get me wrong, they're not asking for the world, but if you're a news hobby and you just see this thing in a slab and people saying about graded cards, you don't know that just because some guy says it's an 8 because he's broke it for you doesn't actually mean anything. If you crack that and send it off, it could come back a 2, it could come back a 10. So it's a risky game to play. But let's go into graded cards in general. Obviously, if you've been in a hobby or you're in the hobby now and you're in it for your personal collection, then when it comes to grading cards, you have a wide variety of graders, whether that's Europe, UK, or US. The biggest at the moment in terms of sheer volume of cards they grade, and probably the most popular. I wouldn't say it's because they're the best at what they do, but it's what the market sort of decides, is PSA. I see a lot of people know PSA. They've sponsored London Card Show. They've been at London Card Show. They've done a few. I think they sponsored trade events there. They've been semi-active in the UK. They are announcing a European play soon. I think it's Germany. Again, I believe it's just a submission centre as opposed to an actual grading centre. I've talked in this pod before that I thought they should have bought a UK grading company, whether that's MGC or someone, as they have a good sort of relationship with the UK card shows. They've graded on-site at card shows, so they've got easy logistics of doing that again up and down the country, which is something that PSA couldn't do because of staff members not having passports, etc. I think the crazy stats like somewhere 76% of Americans don't have passports, which is crazy to think from Europe. Obviously where everyone has a passport, the alien guys don't really use them much because they just go from different states, like whole different countries. Then. PSA has been sort of the dominant one for the last easy 5-10 years, maybe 10, but the last 5 years for definite, maybe 7 or 8. It's been dominant. Before that, Beckett was probably your biggest one. They did a lot with hobby. Their book was basically the guideline to sale prices for sort of the comps. You get a Beckett book, and it would have the cards in there and the prices, similar to what like you get a card fair with cigarette cards. They have a book every year, tells you the price of cards, etc. Beckett, it has been sold since, but Dr. Beckett was one of the forefronts of sports cards and that sort of stuff. So they were probably one of the biggest. Some people liked their subgrade option, which you don't get at PSA. I know the PSA are opening like grading notes, not so nonsense in there, but yeah, people liked the subgrade option because obviously it would tell you if why it got certain scores. It would be like a centering was a 9.5, the surface was a 9, and it's like so it would be a lot easier for people to understand why the card got it what it got. Whereas obviously when you get just an 8, you go, why's it got an 8? You don't know. And then and Alice said, "I open up the notes," but yeah, it's not always as easy. So I get so many people who crack and resubmit or get an 8, crack it, and sell it raw, and then you have to go through the rigmarole of sending it off and getting an 8, and then ugh, got shift it over there. But this again, there's many more grading companies. Obviously SGC was sort of one that was seems quite a vintage one, and obviously they've sort of gone into cahoots with PSA with sort of a weird sort of a joint ownership scenario. Some people like their tux, as they call it. Some people don't. Some people think certain like stickers look better in it than sort of PSA or Beckett. Some people don't really go into stickers; they don't care too much. Again, in England, we have the likes of MGC, Ace. So there's plenty. I'm not going to bore you in a part of every grading service, but if you're new to the hobby and you're in this for your personal collection, then it makes it so much easier, because whether it's the most popular or the biggest demanded grading company PSA you want to send your card to just because that's what you want, then you can do. If you just want to go quick turnaround and you live in England and you want it relatively cheap, you have MGC, you have Ace. If you're not long, you don't care how long it takes, but you want the subgrades on the label, so you're one of the people that likes the numbers, likes to dive into that sort of stuff. Have the likes of Beckett, have obviously likes of like a digital grading company like Tag that will give you a full like PDF breakdown of every ding or thumbprint or hairline scratch you couldn't see in the foil on a card, through the scan they do. And because when it's your personal collection and you're coming into the hobby, it's you don't care if the resale will be an extra XYZ because it's graded PSA over Tag or MGC, and that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine who you want to grade your cards with on any given day. There's plenty of sort of tools out there. I mean, again, if you download any of these sort of comping apps, they'll usually have a breakdown of different prices from different grading companies as well. So SGC, PSA, Beckett's the usual suspects, and you will start getting the newer ones. Obviously, unfortunately, like our English or European graders won't be on these apps. I don't know. I know there's a European app, sort of marketing app that's going out. I don't know if they're going to incorporate these companies like is it Gold Standard, who do the German show? These European and English grading companies. So that'll be interesting. But you'll see these companies on these apps, so it's always a good indicator that these apps are, if they're representing these companies by having their data on there, it sort of shows that these companies are reputable companies. Again, if you get into any of the social medias, you can ask anyone on these platforms. You'll see the numerous videos on YouTube with these companies, whether that's PSA, Beckett submissions, SGC submissions, I said Tag submissions. I say they're probably like your biggest four at the moment in the US for sure, where you'll get people going. I think Tag because of what they're doing and how new it is and the digital side of things. SGC because of their long standing with the vintage side of things, the stickers. Beckett because of their history in the hobby, and obviously PSA because of what they're doing currently. Again, these other companies, but I won't just list off every grading company in the world. It's sort of respectable. Ain't nobody got time for that. But then if you're coming into the hobby and you're looking to, because it's a bit of a side hustle for you, you want to earn some extra cash. It's hard out here, and you want to earn some extra cash. You've heard Gary Vee talk about making money from sports cards, investments and that sort of stuff. Or maybe you've got a friend who does a little bit, and so you get into it, and unfortunately you think that by making money you have to it's a gamble of getting involved in breaks. So you're already sort of chasing the pounds, right? You've put money in, you've got a few teams here, you may even bid up on a team or two, in this or the other, and all of a sudden they've split the team and players. And you don't really know this. You bought in at, let's say, Man City and Haaland and Foden were separate, so you bought in the big City spot, and someone's pulled a nice Haaland auto or something, and you're thinking it's yours, and it's not. And all of a sudden, now I think, I've got to buy another spot in break. So you go to another breakers and you buy in, player in the team and this, that, the other, and it's, you can be chasing money. But then the breaker says, "Hey, we do graded cards," and you think, "Okay, hey, a graded card. That's where you add a value. You get a card raw, you add a value to it by getting it graded, and then you resell it. That's how you make some money." But the grading company is you never heard of before. The labels are different. It's black with some blue font on it, and they've put this price on it, and you're thinking, "Okay, well, it's a little bit extra. It's a bit more. It's graded. I'll go in for this." The grading company is maxmanor.tv. Dramatic pause. Exactly. maxmanor.tv. So I've checked. I could not find maxmanor.tv as a company on Company's House. So it's not a legit business unless they registered under a different name. And this is like a part of the business. But there's no Max Manor TV. They're a small Instagram, few hundred. On Whatnot breaking, but also selling these slabs that he personally looks like he grades, and when it comes to encapsulating cards, if he just done encapsulations, then it was a special label to sort of mirror the card. Similar what you get with like Ace and was it HGA? They did the same thing. I wouldn't have too much of an issue. They've just securely encapsulated the card. Some people's pride and joy. Some people then think, well, it's going to come a lot more secure, right? So if I want to open it up and get it graded by a proper company and sell it, it's got a good chance of being in good condition. I wouldn't have been too disgruntled. I wouldn't have probably done this podcast. It's when they start putting a score on it. Because now you're telling people that this is a 9, this is a 10. And, I get it. PSA or this, that, the other, or Beckett is the other, the infamous jokes of, when it comes to humans that you could send stuff in to PSA 10 times and get 10 different scores. The infamous, so we could have had a bad grader and they get paid close to minimum wage, so they don't really care. And it is, there's all this. And this is probably why we're seeing a bit of a rise in likes of tag. It's digital grading, your card gets scanned, and there's a breakdown of everything from centering, up, down, left, right, to any blemishes on the card, the edges, etc. So it's very hard to argue when you have photo evidence with a breakdown on it. You can't then go, don't think it should have been. I'll send it in again. It's right there, plain as day. The only thing you'd have is if it got a 9 and they've got a 9 because of thumbprints that you put on, because obviously they won't clean the card. You can always crack it, clean it up with nice microfiber. If you want to use mist them into your Kurt's code card care, then that's on you. And then send it back and hope that then gets a 10 because you've took away the blemish that's been marked. If it's obviously dints, scuffed edges, not center, then obviously and it's pointless in the in. And yes, PSA have changed their centering scale again. So in theory, it should be even harder to get a 10, which may put a premium on 10s, but that's another discussion for another day. But when this guy is putting him in these encapsulating these cards and he's putting on there that they're an 8, they're a 9, they're a 10, it's a very, very risky thing to do. As someone who, again, I can't find any details of this person being a business. You're judging by your social status of the Instagram and your Whatnot followers. You're quite new. You've been in it for a while, but you're quite new. It's this encapsulation thing seems quite new. I think the card, I've got the calendar. The card number, is less than 200. It was 0000195. It's a very, it's very low amount that they've actually graded, so presumes are quite new. And again, this is not one that's been like sent into him, which is fair enough. He's not said, send your cards to me, he's getting graded. It's a case of he's got this stuff and he's adding this, he thinks he's adding this value to his stream, right? I'm selling graded cards. The issue is the value, right? Where are you getting this data from of saying that this is graded a 10 in your eyes or it's graded a 9 in your eyes, and here is the price of it? It's like conflict of interest, sort of. I can't think of the actual word I'm looking for, but you just have some cards at home. You're trying to add value to your viewers, you claim, obviously add value to your business. So you say, I'll just grade these cards. I mean, I've only seen I've not seen big cards. I've seen a few base cards, which are annoying. Or like base inserts and stuff like that. And you're grading them, and then you tell me you stream as if it's like a great thing, like, oh yeah, these graded cards. Like we've got to take your word that these are a 10, and then you're trying to sell them. It's like PSA buying Prism for the year, so no one can buy Prism, and then just grading all these cards and saying they're all in our vault, buy them off us because they're all 9s and 10s. Like it just shouldn't be done that way. It doesn't help people in this hobby. Now I get it. If these were like limited cards, these was numbered cards, for instance, and it was people just wanted it for the collection, I sort of go, okay, fine. Yes, I don't agree with the number on they put this guy's put on there, but he had a selection of very limited cards. He had to 25, so it was 25 still very limited, right? Even to 50s or 49s, whatever it may be. And he says, right, I'll calculate and put, I'll say they're a 9 and 10, and I'll sell them. Because then that person probably would have paid any price, and he probably hopefully should have got it for less than he would have to pay for like a PSA 9. And it's for his collection. So then he's got the option of cracking it great, and if he's paid 50 quid and he gets it graded for PSA for another 20, all of a sudden he's paid £70 for a card that may have cost more to buy it as a PSA 9, 10, etc. You'd hope anyway, because this should be no way near a PSA price. This should be pennies on the dollar of a PSA price. This is, I don't know if he's trying to be a new grading company or it's just him encapsulating cards, adding a grading score. Like there's no clarity around it. There's no transparency. The website doesn't really say much about it either, which kind of, there's a weird little TV that's sort of, the old school TV is like off, or fuzzy screen, whatever, and the database coming soon, and just talks about encapsulating cards or whatever. And I sort of got bored reading it. There wasn't much on there, like a paragraph. Let me go back on it now. So Max Slabs, exclusive graded cards. This is direct off their website. Max Slabs are scrupulously examined before being encased in acid-free ultra clear slabs and are only available on Max Mana TV live streams. That's it. Nothing about their grading scale. Nothing say they've been trained. That's just one of the many things that's starting to be wrong with this hobby, right? Just a random guy trying to fleece people. Let's be honest. That's what it seems like. Let me your thoughts. Am I way off the mark here? Is this guy trying to do good for the hobby? Is he looking out for your pennies? Is he looking out for his own bottom line? Personally, I'm not impressed. I do not like this sort of etiquette. Again, you wouldn't get it from any other company. Yeah, it's and listen. Do I think there's suspicious goings on at other companies like the grading companies? Of course. Do I think companies will grade big one-of-one cards more leniently, should I say, than other cards? Yeah, I think they do. I think, imagine if you were sending like one-of-ones and of fives of these big cards, big players to PSA, and we're getting 9s and 8s because, sometimes, especially like National Treasures, floors are a bit thicker stock. It's always a bit harder to get 10s. But then you can send it to a new Kraken. So all of them cards aren't in PS anymore. You can send a BGS, and let's say get a black label. Yeah, there you go. Let's just give a black label because they look good and it's gonna look good, and that's all. That's all you can see on social media, and that will influence you to send your cards there, and it brings in more business. So when you start seeing all these big cards in PSA 10s, they just platter on social media. So all of a sudden, it influences you that PSA is the place to end it because that's how big cards are getting sent. So all the cards need to send there. That's what adds a premium. And don't get me wrong, it's a crazy premium. I pick up a lot of 9s because the price of 9s are crazy. I'm seeing 9s similar to Raw. It's crazy. People are still living on like gamble hype of, if I get it right, it still could be a 10 and look at the upside. Like getting a 9. Do you know how good a 9 is? Like, don't disrespect 9s. Honestly, I have so many 9s. That's like a German, right? 999. I have so many nines. Um, yeah, it's crazy. It is crazy. And to be fair, when it comes to my personal collection, obviously, I do not care where it comes from. I have SGC, the nines. I have, I think my Mahomes optic is it Mahomes optic? Yeah, I think obviously the Prism's it might be an 8. Prism Mahomes Prism Rookie is an 8. I don't have a PSA though. Don't quote me on that one. I'll just think about it. When it comes to my personal collection, I buy the card, not the grade, and that's one of the things that a lot of people say when it comes to your personal collection: buy the card, not the grade. So there's that old adage of this guy's got the card I want for my PC, and like I was saying before, with this Max Mana TV, if you had limited cards and you just encapsulating it with a little picture that mimics the card, I wouldn't be too amiss. It's when you start adding a grade to it and pumping it on your breaks, on your on your WhatsApp channel and stuff like that. It's now I said that there's kids on there, and my whole thing is I want more people into hobby, and I think I believe a lot of people stay in a hobby when they make money in a hobby. It's a hard hobby to stay in when you're constantly losing money, right? All these gamblers that go into whatnot won't be in that hobby that long because they'll constantly keep losing money, year on year. And all of a sudden, you can't keep it up. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a percentage that can just keep previously throwing a couple hundred a month away on breaks. And, again, maybe after 6 months, they'll semi be up because they'll get a big hit. That's very possible too. But not everyone can do that, right? Not everyone can enter these big breaks, and not everyone can enter and get the big spots, and everyone's going to get the big card, So it's for me, it's something that I sort of talk about. That we try and talk about ways of actually staying in the hobby, actually making money, whether that's buying raw cards, adding value, getting graded, and then reselling, prospecting. But very rarely I talk about investing in breaks. Don't get wrong, there's obviously a space for breaks, and I get it, but for me, I want to try and encourage more people to stay in a hobby, be in a hobby. So it's easy away from that sort of stuff. But now I'm seeing this sort of stuff on these channels. I don't think Fanatics will allow this, and it's interesting at Whatnot sort of do. I guess it's like I said, it's one of them weird spots, right? Like it's not horrendously wrong. It's just the fact that there's going to be a random number put on there by this guy, and then he's selling it at what price? Some might say, "Oh, I've actually been this guy's WhatsApp Whatnot, and he starts at £1 bid." Da, da, da. It's all well and good. Like, what are you teaching the next generation now? Like, are you trying to? Is that how you're going to build your brand? And do you think it's going to take off by doing that way? Like, if you do all these for £1, and even if you get them, they all sell for £10. The kids, they can try and make money off it. Like, there's no value in it. Like, yeah, like where can these kids get value from this, or where can the new people coming in who may just see it get the value from this? For me, it just seems a bit of a scam, right? Like a money scam. I personally obviously can tell I'm worried. I'm worried, especially say with the amount of kids that are going on to Whatnot now. So I'm very worried that this is like a new thing we'll see more people do. So it's definitely something you need to be careful out there. If you're new to hobby, hopefully, you found that this podcast, the UK's best card pod, I'm going to say it. The only weekly one at the moment, anyway, not much. The only weekly podcast in sports cards in the UK. But yeah, you've got to be careful out there. Again, if people are getting into a hobby, hopefully you can help guide them. Hopefully, you've learned as well. And we need people to sort of learn from the mistakes that we've made, right? We've all made mistakes. I would say I've made massive mistakes, but you make mistakes. Of course you do. I've been quite lucky where I think my biggest mistake is buying some random cards But when it's PC, I probably maybe they overpay. Yeah, it's hard to say it. Like I wouldn't ever say I overpaid on a card for my PC because that was a price I was willing to pay for it, right? I probably could have got it cheaper. Yeah, if I'd waited here or bought a different time. Um, I've never really been stung too bad with investment cards because I bought to sell. So that's always lucky. Uh, but there's been obviously mistakes there. You buy sort of cards because the description sometimes, I've bought cards and without doing the research, they've put in the title is this, a case hit, and I was like, a case hit's underrated. It was, don't get me wrong, it was I think it was like $4. And I bought one the other day as well. It was like $2, and I don't think I checked. It was a legit case hit, and obviously I bought it. And I actually don't think it was a case hit after all that. I think it's just a double insert. So that's why I got it for like $4, right? So it's probably a dollar card at max. But yeah, this is what happened. Unfortunately, sometimes if you don't do the research and believe what everyone puts in the description, you can get stung like that as well. And it's unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is. And this is why you should do your research and listen to people's content, watch people's content, so you'll learn, because it's a hobby that's got quite a few pitfalls, unfortunately. And this could be another one. You could be buying these cards that he's selling as a 10, and you're thinking you make prime money, but it'll probably be quite hard to shift because people aren't going to want it because they don't know who it is and what it's created. And if you do crack it to resubmit elsewhere, that 10 could go down real quick, and all of a sudden you could be in the hole. And don't forget, you have to pay the submission fee to whoever company you use, so you have to wait, especially if you want to send it to PSA. So yeah, it's it could be a costly game. That's all I'm gonna say. But yes, I'm intrigued on your thoughts if you've heard of this going on elsewhere. I'd like to keep saying this guy's name, but yeah, I don't know if you've heard of other breakers doing it. Again, does anyone just encapsulate cards? Say, I don't know. I don't think I'd mind too much if you were enter someone's break and they were going to encapsulate it for you. We can do the labels to sort of match the cards, and you get to choose this or other. I mean, I know MGC do sort of a free sort of break for people, don't they? And they grade the cards, and that's fine. They're not sort of robbing people's money. It's like, yes, there could be like a conflict of interest. Like, imagine breaking with them, they grade the card like let's just say it's really bad quality card. I don't know, let's just say it's this year's Donruss. You get a card, it's a big card, and you give it an 8. The chance that you're probably going to crack it, so it's probably not best for their business, right? They've done the break for you, you've got this card. I mean, I don't actually know if it is a free break they do. I've never actually been in one. I believe it's like members. But I may be way off. Because obviously I have a membership to Grey MGC. But yeah, like it's not good for their business, is it? They've done this break for their own pennies. For the members, they've hit a big card, and it's a week later it's been cracked. So do I think sometimes they'll probably grade it a bit higher and a bit more lenient to it, and obviously they can make content out of it as well, quite possibly. Money makes the world go round, right? And it's like, it's not free advertisement, but it's advertisement of a sort. So yeah, it's a dodgy game out there. Don't know who you can trust, right? But you can always trust the card show and Parkroom Homes. You can always trust that. But no, I'm very intrigued. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is something we'll see more of now? I don't say breakers are struggling, because I think there's a lot of breaker teams that are doing quite well. There's a lot of people teamed up and stuff like that. And now with Fanatics coming in allocation and shops, etc., it seems like a good flow. But yeah, will we see more of these people trying to encapsulate cards or be self-grading cards now? What a dirty world we live in, eh? The hobby's going crazy. But to the episode of Card Show. Look at that, 30 minutes pretty much. I'll love you and leave you guys. I will see you guys next week. Hopefully a bit better podcast than people tend to exposing the new people or the people that just don't know as much. So yeah, it's a crazy world. Be safe out there, guys. Be smart as well. Take care.